greet our friends everywhere with Chapter 16 of To Ask No Man, the story of George Mueller's incredible adventure with God. This is another in the series Stories of Great Christians, brought to you by the Moody Bible Institute of Chicago.
Henry, nobody has been here.
Oh, George, you...
Nobody. No children, no adults, no city authorities, nobody.
You mean nobody applied?
Nobody.
Look, George,
Don't, Henry.
I don't want to say I told you so, but doesn't this indicate...
9.
Doesn't it show that I was right, that people aren't ready for the orphanage?
I just don't know, Henry. I just don't know.
George sat there staring back at me numbly, not saying anything more as we faced each other in the square grey parlour at number 9 Wilson Street, the house George had rented so optimistically for his orphanage. There was nothing I could say. I didn't want to hurt the fellow, he was my friend. But it was exactly what I had expected from his impulsive decision to adopt 30-odd orphans from the slums and feed and clothe them simply by asking God to give him what he wanted. His motive was so good, to prove to Christians and skeptics that God is still faithful today. But he was being so impractical and unrealistic about it. After a while, George got up, and he went out without saying anything to me. And I let him go, out into the blackness of an early February evening.
No, God. I don't believe you wanted to end so. You give me the promise. Open thy mouth wide and I will fill it, you say. You give me the signs. Money, helpers, all that furniture. Oh, God. Everything I pray for, you give me. Until today. My God, where did I fail you?
George, just in time. Here, take this bolt of flannel and take it over to that table. Start unwinding it, will you please, George? Only be careful. Don't let it drag on the floor. Look, George, 3 dresses from the rosebud calico. I made them today, and tomorrow I'm going... George, why are you looking like that?
Put the dresses down, Mary.
George?
And get that bolt of flannel out of the way.
Oh, the flannel, you pushed it on the floor, George.
And this sewing clutter, take it to the back room. It doesn't belong here.
I'm not finished.
Yes, you are. You've made your last rosebud dress.
George.
And I've carried my last crate of frying pans down Wilson Street like a common pack horse.
What happened?
Nothing.
Well, then...
Nothing. Nobody.
Nobody? You mean that...
Nobody came near number 6 Wilson Street. Not a child, not a grandmother, not a city official. Nobody.
Nobody applied.
You heard me.
You said they'd be lined up for blocks.
Never mind what I said.
Where were they?
Maybe we ask ourselves, where was God?
George.
All right, where was he? Oh, Mary.
George.
All the way home I pray. God, where did I fail?
Not one single application.
Open thy mouth wide and I will fill it, he says. I believed he would.
Well, he did, George. He did until...
Yeah. I pray for money. He gives me gifts larger than I dream. From people I never saw before.
I prayed for kitchen things.
And a strange man appears at the door with his arms full. We pray for cooks and teachers.
Yes, and they came, George. Brother Terence, Mrs. Twombly.
We need furniture. We get all we ask.
You asked for clothes and got them. You prayed for... Oh, George.
Everything I pray for, he gives me. Until today.
George, that's it?
What?
everything you prayed for.
Yeah, everything except the kinder.
That's it, George. You didn't ask for children.
Mary...
Don't you see, George? You thought that
There'd be too many.
Yes, so you didn't.
I didn't. Mary, I didn't.
Oh, George, aren't we dummkopfs?
Terrible dummkopfs.
And isn't he an incredible God?
Mary, are you sure? You're positive this is it?
George, you ask me. Of course it is. We forgot to ask for our orphans. We took it for granted. But we'll remedy that now. Then we'll wait for God to send his answer.
About time. Come here, stupid, and drop it, I say. Don't go tossing rocks round here, now mind.
You talking to me?
Sure. Who else? Oh, and him too, the cross-eyed brat. Hey, this number 6, Wilson?
Yeah, it is.
Well, we're here then. You the reverend what's running this place?
Yeah. Ach, madam, pardon me. Herein. We go into the living room.
Ain't we fancy, madam? Drop that rock, Jerry, you hear?
Now, take this chair. We are not quite ready for guests, but it will be adequate.
Oh, sure.
Now then, we come to fill out the application.
I sure did. Hey, you put that chair down. He's the one, my sister's kid. She died.
I see. Now, I'll just sit down at this desk and write it all down. The boy's father?
If you ask me, he takes after him. So when I heard about your little place, I says, now, maybe that's the answer. I was going to come yesterday, but my gentleman friend, he got a bit of a holiday from the docks, and him and me, well, you know...
I'm sorry you didn't come yesterday.
You mean I'm too late? Of all the rotten luck, I told him
No, not quite. There are still a few... Fraulein, you are the first applicant, and I am delighted to see you.
Well, watch it, Grandpa.
Oh!
And 2 for flinching.
And don't mind him, he's good. Down in his heart, if you can find it. Hey, you say I'm the first what's applied?
Yeah. Now then, I need some more facts about this.
Well, don't look like I'm the last.
I take you one at a time, folks. Just line up so. And when I'm finished with this lady, I will take the next one.
Hey, we got fun.
Jerry, settle down.
There's room for all.
Hey, you other freckles, let's mind things out.
Put that rock down, Jerry.
All work together as one happy Christian family. That way we all get applicants.
Jerry!
No!
My window!
Now, don't get in a huff, Reverend. You asked for these kids, didn't you? Well, you got what you asked for, so don't complain none. Mr. Mueller, I sure hope you don't mind standing there while I put this linen away. First chance I've had all day. Such a day it's been.
I hope this work won't be too much for you, Mrs. Twombly. I mean, a woman your age.
Oh, now listen to me, Mr. Mueller. I hope it won't be too much for a man your age. You're pretty young to have 30 kids all of a sudden. Jerry, here, give me that sheet, huh? That's Jerry.
Yeah, Cherry and I have met.
He's frisky, and in fact, they're all frisky bedtimes. All right, get along with you to bed, scoot. But they're all right.
They're pretty well behaved.
Ah, Mr. Mueller, they're terrors. Unholy terrors they are. But I love them.
It would be hard to leave them.
What's up? All right, stop that pillow fighting. I see you. I'll paddle every one of you. Is something wrong, Mr. Mueller?
Nine. Just, Mrs. Twombly, this week we have 6 people looking for homes for babies.
Babies.
Yeah, little babies.
But you can't take them, not here.
Yeah, here is out, but we must do something.
What?
Lease another house.
Oh, you are?
Already have.
mercy on us.
We have a house, Mrs. Twombly. Now we look for a house mother.
Oh, babies, little babies. Hey, you, Jerry, stop pounding Pete's ear like that.
We need somebody with experience. You have it. For this house, it is easier to find someone.
All right, enough. Prayers into bed, not one peep out of you, understand?
Well, Mrs. Twombly?
Leave these fellows, Mr. Mueller. I couldn't.
I'm sorry.
You'll get somebody. There, that's the last of the linen. I guess things must be coming along all right for you to start another house.
Yeah, God provides. Last week, Mrs. Twombly, you won't believe me. We needed rent, £12. The morning it was due, the mailman brought a letter, and out fell £17 6 shillings.
Lands.
£5 left over.
God is good.
Last week, a man gave us £8, just like that. He collected it from the men who work for him. They put in a penny a week.
It looks like God really wants this orphanage. It does indeed.
Never doubt it, Mrs. Twombly.
Oh, I won't. As long as things go like they have, you can be sure I won't.
I say, I don't think you've given me a direct answer, old man. How are things financially?
Well, what do you expect? Carpenter's not a bookkeeper, too. Not at the same time, at least.
Well, I'm concerned.
Then, find a hammer and help me.
Now, George, I've heard rumors that...
All wrong.
Well, then tell me the truth.
If I tell you what God has done since last February 3rd, we'll be here all night.
I mean, how are things now, today?
2 housefuls of orphans in 8 months' time. 91 children snatched out of the almshouses.
I mean money.
We pray, God provides. Not once do we solicit. Listen, Henry, did I tell you about the time we needed bread?
Well, I don't know.
Ach, and they say there's no miracles. 3 shillings we
Insist,
had.
Mr. Mueller, you take those 3 shillings and hire a carriage.
Maybe I could walk.
Way over to the chapel. And you're just up from a sick bed. Nothing
If
doing.
I spend the money on the carriage, who pays the bread?
We'll go without bread. It won't hurt us.
I couldn't.
There's the bread man now.
I'll pay him.
No. Just a minute, I'm coming. Don't need anything, thanks just the same.
No, that's a pity. I had a whole basketful left over, and I was all set to give it to Wyatt.
What?
Sure you can't use it?
Of course we can. Step right in here, young man, and bring that bread along with you.
It happened, Henry, right in this house.
Very interesting. Now, when was that? Yesterday?
Last June.
No, this is October.
Henry.
Well, miracles last June are fine, but how much do you have right now?
Today?
October 1st, 1836.
I'm
listening, George.
We lack a pound.
Lack a pound?
Lack a pound to pay salaries.
You mean the house mothers, cooks, and all?
They're due today.
Well, now, if you get that pound and you pay those salaries, then you won't have anything.
Nothing but God's grace.
And 91 helpless, hungry, dependent children. So this is what you've come to after 8 months of work and sweat and prayer. Well, George, you jolly well know I'm not surprised.
And so we conclude Chapter 16 of To Ask No Man, the story of George Mueller's incredible adventure with God. This is another in the series Stories of Great Christians, which come to you transcribed from the Moody Bible Institute of Chicago.